welcome to Top 10 2-Star Monsters list, guys. I am super excited for this, as always. I've wanted to do this for a while. Just gonna have a quick arena battle while we talk about the video ahead. Yeah, so I've been doing the Beginner's Guide series, right? And when you're a beginner player, these unknown scrolls are a lot more important than they are when you're a mid or late game player. You often forget about them and you accumulate them in the hundreds of thousands and they sit there. There are lots of good 2-star monsters, and I want to make this list for you guys to show you which are the best. In my opinion, there could be others that you guys think are better that maybe aren't on this list, but again, this is my list, things I know that are good monsters comparatively. It can be confusing. You're wondering, do I keep the water harpoo or the fire harpoo? What do I do? What about the Garudas? What about the Vagabonds? You get the wind one, but are the fire and the water one any good? I think the fire one's a 3-star monster. But are the other elements any good? This vid should give you guys a little bit of an idea of what's in store as you get these 2-star monsters from your Unknown Scrolls. So, let's get right into it. So top 10, however, I want to show you guys the runner-up. So the runner-up is a water monster. At number 11, we have the Water Pixie. Now, why do we have the Water Pixie at runner-up for the top 10? A lot of players, if you're watching, you've played for a while, you're thinking, the Water Pixie sucks, go for the Wind one. Well, the Wind one is on this list, worry not. Spoilers. But here's the reason why the Water Pixie is on the runner-up list. She can be really cool to use with Despair Runes. Now, you don't get Despair Runes as a new player unless you're clearing some Giants levels, and you can quit pretty quickly. All you have to do to get to the Kairos Dungeon and the Giants is beat the Kabir Runes boss on normal, which I've covered in one of my videos. Not the Kairos Dungeon, just that's how you get there. But let's check out her skills, and I'll explain why she's pretty cool and why she's on the top. She's the runner-up for the top 10 list. So first skill, nothing special. Attacks enemy, which makes them with a 50% chance possibly have a glancing hit when they attack you. So it's a small debuff. It's handy, but I mean, come on, we're looking for stun. We're looking for freeze, right? Second skill is where things start to get interesting here. Attacks all enemies, decreasing their attack speed for 2 turns. Attacks all enemies is important. Third skill, summon shooting stars that attack all enemies. So we have 2 attacks that hit all enemies, right? She doesn't have a crazy high amount of attack points, so she's not going to be a huge damage dealer, but she is already a support monster with, you know, okay HP for a 3-star monster, or a natural 2-star monster, I should say. So Casey, yeah, so why? Let me just explain why she's runner-up and what makes her that way. So, I don't know if there'll be any here, but even as a new player, you can go through the magic shop and find Despair Runes. Okay, there's not any here, but we'll look at some real quick. Here they are. What do Despair Runes do, guys? 4 set of Despair Runes on a monster increases their stun potential by 25%. Now, she doesn't have any natural stun potential, but she does have 2 attacks that hit all enemies, right? So 25% chance to stun every time. And so as a new player, throwing this in the Water Pixie, Casey, into your team on some of the fire levels for crowd control, where she's kind of protected. She is kind of squishy, but I've taken her to Faimon Volcano, Hell, and Hard mode with, we brought her and some other monsters, some Light and Darks, and some fire monsters, so they kind of keep her focus away from her. And she's been at level 13, I think, 2 or 3 stars, stunning Faimon Volcano Hellhounds and the Fire Nugamis. So she is useful as crowd control. Really cool. You know, maybe you don't want to spend a lot of focus as a new player on her, but if you get some Despair Runes from the Giants, the lower halls, and the magic shop, just try her out. It's a little bit of fun. So runner-up, Casey, water monster. Okay, right into the top 10 normal list now. Alright, we have at number 10, hey, another water monster. It's a healer. You guys are probably guessing already. Let's always look at the awakened form of these guys, because sometimes their skills aren't there on the unawakened. So Lulu, the Oh yeah, the Water Howl. I was like, oh man, it's been so long I forgot what they're actually called before they're awakened. Lulu's number 10 because she has 2 out of 3 of her skills that heal. Recovers the target allies and your own HP by 25%, removes harmful effects. So get rid of some debuffs. He's super useful. Again, removes harmful effects and recovers the ally by 20%. That remove harmful effect of all allies, so that's a team cleanse. Having 2 heals and 2 cleanses, how do you go wrong? I mean, there's things to be said. The light one's cool, the dark one's cool. They're all healers, but that's my favorite. I think having 2 out of 3 of your skills as a heal makes a good healer, right? Number 9, guys. Moving on. We have a fire monster. You guys all love fire monsters, don't ya? We have... Where is he? Oh, I went by him. Here he is. We have Tantra, the Fire Yeti. Now, why is Tantra number 9? Why is he in the list? What does he do? Well, he attacks 2 times with his first skill, which is good for, you know, the new Necropolis dungeon, if that's all you've got. And a chance to increase, or decrease, sorry, I should say, the enemy's attack speed for 1 turn. Slow your enemies down, give yourself more turns. Useful. Inflicts damage proportionate to your max HP. Now, this is awesome because it's an HP monster. So you can do a good amount of damage with your second attack, and again, reduce their attack speed. Maybe give your allies more turns. Hit them with this, decrease their attack speed, hit them with one of yours that wasn't necessarily in line for another turn, and the enemy's dead. Third skill. Creates a shield that's 50% of your max HP, and that's awesome because again, we have a max HP. You build this monster with HP runes, HP percent runes, and you've got a great second skill, you've got a strong tank, and now you've got a shield that can be used for 3 turns, and it recovers yourself 15% every time. A good monster for early gamers and arena defense, and it's also a fusion monster, guys. So once you decide you're done with it, you can use it in the fusion circle for, who is it? Is it the Water Ninja? That doesn't sound right, or maybe it's even all the way up to something higher. Where's my fusion circle that I never use? Oh, it's right here, front and center, where anytime there's something right dead in front of me, that's when I can't find it. Yeah, so the Water Ninja. See, right here there's Tantra, and so when you're done using him as a new player or whatever, you can use him for fusion to get the Water Ninja. And eventually you use the Water Ninja, yeah, right here, to get Sigmaris, the Water Phoenix. So it's going to be something you want to hold on to, you want to build a little bit, and then use for fusion. Okay, number 8, guys. Number 8. We have another fire monster. Go figure. Fire is the current, seem to be the most popular monsters, and rightly so. They have some wicked attack skills. It's tough to find good water attackers, I found. They're out there, but you just don't seem to summon them most of the time. Okay, where is he? She, I should say. Where is she? There she is. Okay, number 8 on our list, guys. The Fire Harpoo Colleen. Why is Colleen on the list? Well, let's go over her skills. Ruthless combo, kicking the enemy 2 times. Again, good for Necropolis. 50% chance of decreasing the enemy's attack power, so they can't hit you as hard. Who doesn't want that? And 2 hits to get those debuffs. Deadly Dart. Throw sharp feathers to attack the enemy and prevent them from recovering their HP. That's awesome. An enemy team has a healer that you that you don't want to be as effective, so you take down an enemy's HP, then you use Colleen's second skill so they can't be healed, and the enemy's healer on arena or guild battles, whatever, can possibly waste their turn. I like other debuffs better, but man, it's still useful if you use it at the right time. Super awesome. And then third skill, which I like. Fiery Dance recovers the HP of all allies by 25%, increases their attack power for 3 turns. So what have you got? You've got Colleen as your healer. Well, she's already decreasing the enemy's attack power, so they can't hit you as hard. She's stopping the enemies from healing. Now what's she doing for you? She's healing you by 25% of your attack, or sorry, not your attack bar, of your HP bar, and then she's buffing your attack power for 3 turns. And it says reusable in 5 turns, and it did on Tantra when we went over his 3rd skill. But if you feed other Yetis to them, and it's easy to get these 2-star monsters, guys, to upgrade their skills, you can get that down to be almost, you can use it indefinitely, right? Especially if you get a little speed substats on your monsters on these runes, they're always going to be able to use their, sorry, I should say, when we're talking about Tantra, and I should have talked about that when we were on him, is you can always have that shield that he has pretty much up, pretty much indefinitely. Fire Dance is a little different, but you can heal quicker and keep your attack gauges buffed for 3 turns. So if you're using it in 3 turns, your allies should be buffed most of the time unless they're way faster than Colleen, right? So she's in. And a lot of people overlook Colleen. She's good. She's good as a new, as a new player. Hang on to her if you get her. And maybe don't focus, in my opinion, on the wind or the water harpoos. Feed them to the fire one. Okay, number 7. Now, this monster, again, is something I feel has been overlooked. It's a wind monster. And it is, in my opinion, one of the game's best healers. And it's probably the best 2-star healer. Oh, a little further. Where is he? He or she. When I said one of the best healers, a few of you know what I'm talking about, and a few of you have completely overlooked this monster and never used it. Oh, there it is. Way up there. We have Rakaja. Now, Rakaja is an awesome healer, but you have to be careful with him, because his heal isn't 25% or 30%, but we'll go over it when we get to it. Okay, attacks the enemy 2 times, again, useful. Slowing them down, good for Necropolis. Heavy Slash attacks the enemy with 2 punches, again, a double hit, so good for Necropolis. Each having a chance to stun the enemy, so you can totally make them miss a turn with a stun, and you can increase that 30% up a little bit. That's awesome 2nd skill. 3rd skill, probably one of the greatest heals from a 2-star monster, is recover the HP of allies in proportion to the number of surviving allies. This means it doesn't matter, if you're using Rakaja as a 3-star healer with 5 stars, if you can keep him not targeted, his heal is great, and it heals everybody. And again, same thing as we just talked about. It's easy to get Yetis. It's easy to power up his skills, and so it says reusable in 5 turns. You can get that right down to 3 turns, I'm pretty sure. And he heals and he heals and he heals. You get a little speed on him again, and his heal is strong. It's quite a bit. So if you have all your allies alive, right, his heal is great. If his heal's good, it's easy to keep them alive, which means his next heal is going to be good, which keeps them alive. It's a revolving circle. If you need a healer, guys, and you think your Water Fairy or your Water Howl or whatever you've got isn't cutting it, even a lot of you might still have a lot of, this is not of a new monster, but the Fairy Queen Fran, the light, well, it's the only one I know of, that 30 million downloads come to us gave to every player. The new players don't get her anymore, but I think Rakaja can even heal better than her. Plus he gets to stun, right, where I think she buffs some attack, but it's just preference. I just know he's good. When I couldn't get through, is it Aiden Forest, the level after Faimon Volcano? I couldn't get through. Grabbed Rakaja, trained him up a little bit, and even when he was only like a 4-star or level 10, he was getting me through those levels as a new player, right? So that helped out. That's going to cover it for him, guys. Let's go over number 6. Now, number 6 is one of my favorites, and it is a monster you can keep all the way to late game and use in the dungeons. Let's look at the awakened form. Where are you at? There he is. We have the Water Garuda, Konamiya. Now, see, I'm starting to see a recurring theme here, but Konamiya is also a healer, right? And just because monsters are healers, and I have attackers on here too, but let's go through the skills and I'll explain what I'm trying to say here. First skill, 24% chance to stun the enemy, right? That gets increased a few percent, I think up to somewhere around 50. I'll have to look, but that's awesome. First skill, stun. So you always can use your first skill, and it has a chance to stun. Super useful. Resurge, I like this. Fills up an ally's target's attack bar and strengthens their attack power for 1 turn. So you get a little buff, and you get the monster that you want to attack pretty much gets to go next. So let's say you have a nuker. The nuker attack monster of yours just went. It's Konamiya's turn. and you don't need to heal. You use Resurge, and that nuclear monster is going again, doing massive damage. It's good, but not as good, in my opinion, as Konomiya's third skill, which removes all harmful effects. I can't read today. Or maybe it's not just today. Whatever. Shut up. Removes all harmful effects on all allies and recovers HP by 15% each. So a cleanse, and you get into those giants, and sorry, not giants. Well, yes, giants sometimes, but those dragons levels, right? And the dragons put all those corrosive damage debuffs on you, damage over time, and you can just get rid of them with Konomiya, right? You pair Konomiya with a couple other healers like that, cleansers, maybe Rebecca, the Fire Mystic Witch, or if you're lucky, like I was, to get Annabelle, the Water Occult Girl. You can have a multi-cleanse team, and those corrosive damage debuffs that they put on you are nothing. It's a waste of his turn, and they really help. If you look in the dungeons now, they have a cool most popular monster poll, or not poll, but statistics for what's used in the dungeons, and Konomiya is up there. So it's a 2-star monster, guys, you can keep and use throughout the entire game. Really awesome. I've been looking for one on my Night Carbon account, the new account I have for the beginner's tutorial. Haven't managed to get one yet, but we will get one. I mean, it's easy to get the Water Garuda, just not for me. Okay, number 5. And those of you that saw my Beginner's Guide episode on Royd, I think it was, the Wind Vagabond, saw me summon one. Where is it? So, may have spoiled it. Oh, I think he was probably way up here. I probably looked the wrong way. Oh yeah, for sure. There it is. The Water Imp, Finn. Now why is Finn so high on this list as a 2-star monster? He's definitely not a hard hitter, but he's hard enough hitting. But his skills, again, make him what he is. First skill, Icy Spear. Attacks the enemy with a spear and increase the attack speed for 2 turns if you get a critical hit. So let's keep that in mind. Critical hit's important. Freezes the enemy for 1 turn. So you can shut him down, right? It's like a stun, it's just not a stun, it's a freeze. Shut down the enemy. Now it doesn't work against bosses and stuff, but still you can freeze monsters on the way to the bosses. It helps your team. Third skill I love. Inflicts great damage with multiple stabs and inflicts continuous damage for 2 turns if you get a critical hit. Now we have 2 skills with critical hits. Blade runes might be your thing, but maybe crit rate substats or crit rate rune on slot 4 would be awesome. I mean, just play it. Don't go over 100% crit rate because it doesn't matter. It doesn't work like that. So watch which runes you pick for them. But it means if you got 1 or 2 of these on your team when you're fighting bosses in dungeons or bosses in scenarios, if you're farming there, those corrosive damage, they do 5% each time the enemy starts their turn, right? I had a really close battle this morning in the arena. I was fighting this epic, one of the best Ramagos I've ever seen. And I hit him with my Ramagos, and I took him down, and he only had like 10 hit points left. But he had 1 damage over time, 1 continuous damage over time there, I should say, debuff on him. And before he could use his clean shot, which I should have said any of this is not covered anywhere before, but before he could use it, he died from that corrosive damage before he even went. So it's important to get those corrosive damage over time debuffs on your enemy, especially on the bosses, because you can hit them, and your monsters might not be strong enough, but every time you get one of those, it's the red square white skull, they lose 5% of their hit points, I think it is, every time one of those, and you can have multiple corrosive damage debuffs on your enemy, right? So he could have up to 5 on him if you get the right monsters, and then if he has 5 and he loses a quarter of his health point bar, no matter how much hit points he has. And some of you might know some of those dungeon bosses have a ton of hit points. So Finn is kind of your backdoor cheat sheet for that, right? He gets you through those bosses just with his corrosive damage. Moving on, though. So, now we talked about her already a little bit. I hinted her at the very start. But we have a monster you've already seen, but just a different type. Here she is. We have Shannon, the Wind Pixie. Now, why is Shannon awesome? Well, Shannon's a super great support monster. Probably one of the best 2-star support monsters you can get, if not the best 2-star support monster. First skill, Same as the water, I'm pretty sure. 50% chance of increasing the enemy's chance to land a glancing hit, so they can't hit you as hard. Attacks all enemies, which is nice. Decrease their attack speed for 2 turns, slow them down, which is nice, with an 80% chance on each target, and I bet you could get that 80% higher. I bet you could. I haven't checked for a long time. But awesome support monster for that alone. Now we have her 3rd scale, which really brings her, elevates her to the next level as a support. Increase the attack power and the defense of all allies for 3 turns, and it says reusable in 5, you can get that down to 3. Talk about always having your attack monsters more powerful, always having your tanks and defense monsters stronger at all times, as long as Shannon stays alive. And if you rune her with Despair Runes, that 2nd skill can stun some enemies, slow them down, crowd control, with a lot of HP on her, right? HP and defense and speed. You could do accuracy too if you do Despair, but I wouldn't. You can't afford it, right? As long as you can keep the enemies, or I should say your allies buffed like that, Shannon just makes your team a part of the next league. They punch above their weight class with Shannon on the team. She's awesome. I don't think anybody say Shannon sucks, and if they do, they're trolling you, or they're stupid. Maybe both. Probably both. Ooh, that's good. Alright, getting to the top here. Top 3. Now, this number 3 on our list is again a wind monster, and it's a monster that a lot of people don't like, but as a 2-star monster, I love it. And it was, I think, one of my, way back in the day when I had my first account, it was probably my strongest monster for a while, and it is the Wind Elemental Taharis. Taharis is awesome and super great single target attacker who self-buffs. Alright, what does his first skill do? Attacks the enemy with a sharp lightning claws, inflicts continuous damage over 2 turns if you get a critical hit. So we need some crit rate, Blade Runes, crit rate on slot 4, something, maybe substats, whatever you can get. And those corrosive damage, again, with the first skill, and you can get 2 turns, so that's 10% over the course of 2 turns, right? And that's pretty good for your first skill. You don't have to even worry about your 3rd skill or your whatever cooldown times. You can, every time he hits, as long as he gets that critical hit, he's doing corrosive damage, right? Alright, we have Solid Blades. This is his self buff. Increase your attack power and critical rate for 3 turns. Additionally, your attack bar increases by 50%. Lots of times, depending on the speed of the monsters in the fight, Taharis can use Solid Blades, and then he can attack again. And first skill, dependent on critical hits. Now you're buffing your crit rate and your attack power. You're doing some sweet damage, right? Assassinate is his 3rd skill, and it really hits home. It cuts things up as a new player. Inflicts a deep wound on the target, leaving 2 continuous damage effects for 3 turns. That's more corrosive damage. This guy is a boss killer, but he does have a drawback. He is squishy. Look at his max HP is 2550. Now for 3-star monsters, you quite often see, well over, not well over, but over 3,000. And, you know, so it makes him kind of situational. He can't really take a lot of damage. So you've got to have either a monster that can heal him lots or can shield him somehow. Maybe you've got a Casus, or maybe you're lucky enough to get a Chloe, but those are both 4-star monsters. So you might not have those yet as a new player. So try to use Taharis against only wind and water monsters. Don't bring him with any major fire enemies because they will just eat him up. But when he has the freedom to attack, talk about killing bosses, killing anything, just slicing them with his self-crit and his corrosive damage. Remember, keep critical rates high on him, and he's going to take you places as a new player. Okay, top 2. I'm pretty sure for those of you that have played the game for even a few weeks or even a couple weeks, whatever, you know who the top 2 are. So, coming in at number 2 is the pretty commonly owned Seek, the Fire Hellhound, the first monster the game gives you. Now that's pretty awesome that the first monster that they give you is a great monster, and it's number 2 on our top 10 list. Honestly guys, if you build them right, all the Hellhounds kind of share this spot, the wind and the water too. I don't see anybody really use the wind one, but they also don't rune it correctly either. It can hit just as hard or harder than the fire one can. But what makes the fire one great, guys, is he has a 3rd skill team buff. It buffs everybody, whereas the wind's passive skill only affects himself, and the water's buff only affects himself. Seek is more of a team player and a hard hitter. First skill you guys know very well. Bite, and recovers 30% of the inflicted damage as HP, right? Awesome, so he self-heals a little bit. Double attack. Bite the enemy continuously to inflict great damage, and great damage is right. If you have an enemy debuffed with defense break and you hit him with this, doesn't matter if it's a water monster, it still hurts. And 3rd skill, which I was talking about, the whole team ally buff. Increase the attack power and critical rate of all allies for 3 turns. So what does that mean if you paired that with our number 3 monster? Yeah, number 3, the Wind Elemental. That means you don't even have to waste time on his 2nd skill, which does fill your own attack bar, but if you can just skip right to your 3rd and not use it and just focus on your 1st and 3rd skills that do continuous damage, it's making, well, I just used that one monster, the Wind Elemental, as an example, but Seek just makes your whole team hit harder. Your whole team. Like I said, the Wind Hellhound and the Water Hellhound, they make themselves hit harder, but Seek makes everybody hit harder, makes him a great monster to pair with defense breakers, and he can just, he hits so hard. He hits so hard for a 2-star monster. He hits harder than a lot of 3- and 4-star attack monsters, really, if you rune him properly. Keep him, build him up. It's not, maybe you don't want to focus him on your first 6-star monster, but if you did, it wouldn't be wrong. I mean, tons of top game players still have Fire Hellhound level 40 6-star in their repertoire. It's not hard to max his skills out. It's not hard to get him back. You can farm this guy from the Faimon Volcano and they drop a lot. You can get a ton of these. So if you want to get rid of him using for food, you can, but that's also another reason why he's so high on the list. He's so easy to get back. Probably the easiest 2-star monster to get back. Okay guys, number 1, and anybody who's had this monster or seen this monster in the arena knows who he is and knows that he is not to be trifled with. That's actually kind of how you beat him. Don't fight him. And maybe even saying, oh, why am I so high? Of course he's not. He's a natural 2-star, so he'll be right here. It is the Wind Warbear Ramagod, or Ramagos, I guess. But we all call him Ramagod because he hits like one. Alright, first skill. Well, let's look. Thrashes the enemy, inflicting damage proportionate to your max HP. The more HP you have, the harder his first skill hits. It also has a 50% chance to reduce the enemy's attack gauge by 25%. So we hit him, maybe they can't attack back as fast. He's an HP monster, so we're going to build him HP, and his first skill is going to benefit from that. Already I like this guy. Second skill, recovers your HP by 30% and increases defense for 2 turns. So he can heal himself, which means he can keep going. He can solo by himself really a lot better, and he can increase his defense. So even if he only heals 30%, his defense goes up, so they can hit him, and he just gets to go again, right? Eventually, hopefully. Clean shot. This is the hammer of the gods. This is Zeus's lightning bolt. This is the rapture, whatever you want to call it. Attacks an enemy, inflicting the amount of HP you've lost as damage. You gain an extra turn if the enemy dies. So how does that work? Ramagos is an HP monster, and let's say, some of the better ones, they have over 30,000 HP, and it's not hard. It's not hard to get your Ramagos over 30,000 HP. It's really not. So that means if he's lost 2/3 of his health, that's approximately 20,000 hit points, and you use clean shot, it doesn't matter if the enemy has buffs on, it doesn't matter if the enemy is a fire type, which is your disadvantage, this monster is going to do 20,000 damage, or however many hit points he's lost. And then what happens? It says you gain an extra turn if the enemy dies. So you're doing 20,000, or maybe not that much, but you're doing a crap ton of damage. Enemies are going to die. When they do, you get another turn. What do? And your hit points are a little low because you use that big hit. You use crouch and you heal so he can take more damage, and then slowly get down and then hit again with clean shot. This guy wipes out entire teams by himself. He doesn't need help. If you can get a 5-star Ramagos with HP percent runes all around, with maybe a little speed and resistance on your substats, that's it. This guy will carry you all the way through to late game. You still see Ramagos in the arena. Not as much in late game because maybe I shouldn't do this, but I will tell you guys Ramagos' weaknesses and how to beat him right now. But late players have an answer for this guy. They know how to defeat him. They can get around him, right? So what do you do when you fight a team in the arena or a guild battle with Ramagos? How do you beat him? Well, you know, the stats say the same, but this is how mine always got defeated, and I turned around and did the same thing and beat other ones. You leave him till last. You don't attack Ramagos until he's the only monster left. Until there's no other healers on the team, there's nobody else on the enemy team that can debuff you or slow you down or distract you or provoke you. You save Ramagos till he's the only enemy to fight, right? Then you have to watch his attack gauge. It's this blue bar. You have to be very wary of when he's going to attack. So Ramagos is just gone, the enemy Ramagos, right? On you. Now is your time. Now what you need, the easiest way to beat him is at fire monsters. You need a defense breaker, and you need stunners, and you need nukers, right? So Fire Hellhound's good for this, and if you're a new player, you have the Wind Vagabond, or you have the Fire Inugami maybe, or any of the Inugamis. Their first skill is all defense break. Preferably I wouldn't want to use the wind one, but this guy, he gets stunned easily. His resistance is poor, even though it's maybe says high. Ramagos is the most easily stunned, put to sleep, debuffed monster for 2 stars that I've ever seen. I don't care what the stats say. So if you bring stunners, and you bring defense breakers, and you bring nukers like the Fire Hellhound, the Wind Vagabond, you wait till he's just attacked so you have all your monsters' blue gauges higher than his. Then you start. Then you go to work. You defense break him. You stun him if you can. You nuke him with your Fire Hellhound or whatever you've got, your hard-hitting fire attackers or hard-hitting wind attackers, and Ramagos will fall. If you get that stun, it resets his turn, so he has to start right from scratch. But if you give him a turn and you've weakened him, he will come back with a vengeance, and it is karma plus, it's karma times 10. Like, it is nuts. That's why Ramagos is number 1 on everybody's top 10 list. He is the best. If you get him, grab him, awaken him as soon as you can, put those HP runes on him. Maybe, I don't know how far you are in the game. If you have just energy runes, do all energy runes, guys, with HP percent. If you are a little further, I had better luck with 4 energy runes and 2 guard runes, just to get a little more defense, so he was more resistance to damage, which slowed them down, because they do stun you a lot. So he can get hit harder, and whatever. You know what? Losing 15% from an energy set of HP and then putting it into your defense, it seemed to last longer on my Ramagos. Now, there's Vampire Ramagos builds. There's all kinds of cool things later in the game. There's Revenge ones. There's Violent Ramagos, which gives him more turns, so he can use Clean Shot more often. There's some cool builds, but as a newer player, that's kind of what this list is geared for 2-star superstars here. All energy, or if you can, 4 energy, 2 guard, all HP percent. This guy is going to carry you, and that's all she wrote, really. That's my top 10 plus 1 monster list, guys. I was waiting a long time for this. I hope you enjoyed it. There are definitely other monsters, guys, that are good 2-star monsters, but I only have top 10. I only have 10 slots, and I had to pick 10 that I know are awesome, that I know that will, you guys won't be disappointed with if you rune properly. If you're wondering about any of the monsters on this list and how to rune them, I will give you my suggestions. Just ask in the comments below, or you can email us at thecarbonnights@gmail.com. Send me a quick request and I will get back to you with the shortest answer and clear as I can. And we'll go from there. Alright guys, next episode is going to be back at Beginner's Guide. And we're going to have episode 6 over there. And it is going to be the Water Magic Knight Lapis that everybody gets now. That's a kind of a, I think, at 40 million downloads. Yeah, all new players now get Lapis once you beat the second scenario level, Mount Sis. So that's really cool. Stay tuned for that, guys. Enjoy your 2-star monsters. You can get them with the Unknown Scrolls. Level them up. Easy to get those 2-star monsters to level up your skills to make them even more strong. And they can fight with 3-star monsters. They can fight with 4-star monsters. They can beat those bosses in the dungeons. So don't throw them away. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe as always, and we'll see you next time. You want to see? I got a 5-star natural monster, Shazam, the Light Beast Monk. Here she is. I heard the internet likes cats. What's up, Knights? Today we are doing, not Shazam, I was just kidding. I didn't get a Nat 5, although one of the people on my friends list who is level 16 has 2 natural 5-star monsters. Talk about luck of the draw. Not even fair. Not even fair. Anyways, guys, today we're talking about the 4th monster we get when we start playing the game, and when you get to the arena and it's unlocked and you get to fight the first opponent, Greedy, the NPC player in the arena. You defeat him and you get the Light Garuda, your 4th monster. And not now when you get it, but if you keep it long enough to awaken it, it becomes your team's first reviver. It can bring one of your fainted monsters back to fighting status. Really cool.